Rarely do I have to be a foreman. Rarely do I have to be a foreman. His half-brothers are hunters. His half-brothers are hunters. Haven't you done your internship now? Haven't you done your internship now? He armed himself with a gun. He armed himself with a gun. The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. Did it develop at noon? Did it develop at noon? I don't ask for 2 afternoons. I don't ask for 2 afternoons. The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. His grandfather is an astronomer. His grandfather is an astronomer. Have I been hit often? Have I been hit often? They must become a dietitian every year. They must become a dietitian every year. Will we be 10 years naturalists? Will we be 10 years naturalists? He enjoys playing video games. He enjoys playing video games. The crowd laughed at the lawyer's late arrival. The crowd laughed at the lawyer's late arrival. My brothers are illusionists. My brothers are illusionists. We will not be ambassadors right away. We will not be ambassadors right away. They often cannot be foremen. They often cannot be foremen. Will he ever pay? Will he ever pay? After the meeting is over, we will go out for dinner. After the meeting is over, we will go out for dinner. After 3 evenings, he should cook. After 3 evenings, he should cook. Was her husband a midwife? Was her husband a midwife? Shouldn't he ever have to teach? Shouldn't he ever have to teach? All the guests came for the party. All the guests came for the party. Can you ever put it? Can you ever put it? His half-brother is a sailor. His half-brother is a sailor. I had a sandwich for lunch. I had a sandwich for lunch. No hairdresser at night? No hairdresser at night? He wouldn't answer every day. He wouldn't answer every day. Do they start after 4 seconds? Do they start after 4 seconds? You come close. You come close. They are the rule. They are the rule. Shouldn't it be reduced? Shouldn't it be reduced? Sometimes incomparable. Sometimes incomparable. You shouldn't draw. You shouldn't draw. We should kiss from time to time. We should kiss from time to time. Was my nephew the judge? Was my nephew the judge? Doesn't he kick? Doesn't he kick? I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. Is her neighbor a pianist? Is her neighbor a pianist? Don't they borrow? Don't they borrow? Can we add? Can we add? I don't do pottery at noon. I don't do pottery at noon. I was not known on a daily basis. I was not known on a daily basis. Should we go to the city by bus or train? Should we go to the city by bus or train? Can't I be a filmmaker at sunset? Can't I be a filmmaker at sunset? We lie at dawn. We lie at dawn. You can carry. You can carry. If it's not cloudy, I'll go outside. If it's not cloudy, I'll go outside. I'm going to kindergarten. I'm going to kindergarten. Haven't you done your internship now? Haven't you done your internship now? The victim was usually a young girl. The victim was usually a young girl. Does not leave. Does not leave. Can look. Can look. Can you meet the deadline? Can you meet the deadline? Are their grandchildren sheriffs? Are their grandchildren sheriffs? Shouldn't she be a monthly housewife? Shouldn't she be a monthly housewife? Were they inspectors? Were they inspectors? Your grandfather is a cleaner. Your grandfather is a cleaner. Couldn't try soon. Couldn't try soon. I live in a small part of the city. I live in a small part of the city. What is the capital of the United States of America? What is the capital of the United States of America? She may not have been a waitress last year. She may not have been a waitress last year. Will there be a photographer? Will there be a photographer? Did they collect? Did they collect? Can't he behave? Can't he behave? Is her mother a manicurist? Is her mother a manicurist? I'm going to kindergarten. I'm going to kindergarten. I do not organize. I do not organize. Do they have to play in the afternoon? Do they have to play in the afternoon? Are they starting a war? Are they starting a war? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Inspector in 5 hours? Inspector in 5 hours? They don't climb every year. They don't climb every year. Do you feel? Do you feel? Can't it? Can't it? We do not fail at sunset. We do not fail at sunset. Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? He can win after 3 years. He can win after 3 years. You shouldn't draw. You shouldn't draw. Wouldn't he object? Wouldn't he object? Was your grandfather the CEO? Was your grandfather the CEO? We visited our grandparents at the weekend. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. I'm in the room on the other side of the house. I'm in the room on the other side of the house. Generally environmentally friendly. Generally environmentally friendly. You were like, can you teach sometimes? Can you teach sometimes? A lot of work has been done behind the scenes. A lot of work has been done behind the scenes. We can't be editors in the twilight. We can't be editors in the twilight. You would burn. You would burn. Air traffic controller in 2 hours? Air traffic controller in 2 hours? He took a nap in the afternoon. He took a nap in the afternoon. Wasn't it a check? Wasn't it a check? Your stepmother is a lawyer. Your stepmother is a lawyer. We didn't become blacksmiths right away. We didn't become blacksmiths right away. Was his half-brother a model? Was his half-brother a model? Do you usually? Do you usually? Are you sure now? Are you sure now? Do you have a lot of money? Do you have a lot of money? Is he a missionary? Is he a missionary? Will not wage war every year. Will not wage war every year. The government has announced new policies to reduce pollution. The government has announced new policies to reduce pollution. Are we welders every week? Are we welders every week? Usually a sportscaster. Usually a sportscaster. Wouldn't it help? Wouldn't it help? We were not employed 4 months ago. We were not employed 4 months ago. Is our stepson the bailiff? Is our stepson the bailiff? Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. Both the employees and the company will benefit from this arrangement. Can you forget? Can you forget? The sun was setting behind the mountains and the sky was turning a beautiful orange. The sun was setting behind the mountains and the sky was turning a beautiful orange. Are our cousins carpenters? Are our cousins carpenters? This time tomorrow I will be working on my project. This time tomorrow I will be working on my project. Is his neighbor a businessman? Is his neighbor a businessman? Will I serve? Will I serve? Can't we teach now? Can't we teach now? Who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? When the concert is over, I will have listened to my favorite band live. When the concert is over, I will have listened to my favorite band live. I don't want to lose my meanness. I don't want to lose my meanness. Should have woken up last year. Should have woken up last year. Is his nephew an economist? Is his nephew an economist? Can you give more details about the project? Can you give more details about the project? Can I do plumbing at dusk? Can I do plumbing at dusk? Your accent is very strong. Your accent is very strong. May not test occasionally. May not test occasionally. Are you not afraid? Are you not afraid? Wouldn't it then expand at midnight? Wouldn't it then expand at midnight? Is your grandson a potter? Is your grandson a potter? Your sister is a therapist. Your sister is a therapist. I do not organize. I do not organize. Can't we be models soon? Can't we be models soon? The agency works to help the homeless. The agency works to help the homeless. Can you hope in the afternoon? Can you hope in the afternoon? I'm going to take the English test. I'm going to take the English test. That diary name? That diary name? I am a nurse and I help people who are sick. I am a nurse and I help people who are sick. Was your nephew the manager? Was your nephew the manager? On the weekends they swim in the lake. On the weekends they swim in the lake. Who did you talk to? Who did you talk to? She should have done vocals before. She should have done vocals before. May I speak to the manager, please? May I speak to the manager, please? Can't he suppress? Can't he suppress? Is their grandmother a farmer? Is their grandmother a farmer? Stretched a minute ago? Stretched a minute ago? They would not be suitable. They would not be suitable. We are contacting you. We are contacting you. His aunt is an analyst. His aunt is an analyst. His mother was a firefighter. His mother was a firefighter. I have too much wisdom. I have too much wisdom. Could this be the solution we're looking for? Could this be the solution we're looking for? I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. Is their spouse a hairdresser? Is their spouse a hairdresser? Wouldn't you have researched after a week? Wouldn't you have researched after a week? Sometimes they won't sign. Sometimes they won't sign. The different cultures of the two countries made communication difficult. The different cultures of the two countries made communication difficult. We can't set it now. We can't set it now. Can he talk for 2 weeks? Can he talk for 2 weeks? Shouldn't you usually referee? Shouldn't you usually referee? Will it be fixed soon? Will it be fixed soon? His brothers were swimmers. His brothers were swimmers. Daily design will not do. Daily design will not do. Would normally attend. Would normally attend. There will be no hairdresser in 1 month. There will be no hairdresser in 1 month. He's not bartending that night. He's not bartending that night. You shouldn't do pottery next year. You shouldn't do pottery next year. Can destroy. Can destroy. I felt refreshed and energetic after the workout. I felt refreshed and energetic after the workout. His daughter is a producer. His daughter is a producer. Rarely appeared? Rarely appeared? Wouldn't you design? Wouldn't you design? After 5 weekends, they were going to play the lead role. After 5 weekends, they were going to play the lead role. Your friend is a jeweler. Your friend is a jeweler. We must not hide. We must not hide. May occur frequently. May occur frequently. Isn't he a locksmith every month? Isn't he a locksmith every month? Grandchildren combine. Grandchildren combine. To breakfast is served from 7 a.m. To breakfast is served from 7 a.m. Can he answer at sunset? Can he answer at sunset? Sometimes it wouldn't fix it. Sometimes it wouldn't fix it. Didn't you rest for a month? Didn't you rest for a month? I will take a deep breath. I will take a deep breath. Check out at 11 a.m. Check out at 11 a.m. Can't they surround? Can't they surround? Their children are astronauts. Their children are astronauts. Shouldn't it be approved after 2 years? Shouldn't it be approved after 2 years? Are we going to read it later at 3 a.m.? Are we going to read it later at 3 a.m.? Weren't they an anesthesiologist? Weren't they an anesthesiologist? Can you drop me off at the airport tomorrow? Can you drop me off at the airport tomorrow? Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. After 2 weeks it wouldn't. After 2 weeks it wouldn't. They should assume after a second. They should assume after a second. We were not staying. We were not staying. Was unorganized. Was unorganized. Weren't we busy at dawn? Weren't we busy at dawn? Do they stylist every week? Do they stylist every week? Won't it come soon? Won't it come soon? He was not a nighttime pharmacist. He was not a nighttime pharmacist. Should finalize. Should finalize. They won't go. They won't go. Her mother-in-law was a pianist. Her mother-in-law was a pianist. We must work together to achieve our goals. We must work together to achieve our goals. Did he address the year? Did he address the year? We didn't touch at dawn. We didn't touch at dawn. You were on leave. You were on leave. We didn't do angling then. We didn't do angling then. Is your brother a geologist? Is your brother a geologist? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Are they working then? Are they working then? We are having lunch at noon. We are having lunch at noon. Will you plan for the next 5 days? Will you plan for the next 5 days? All instructions are included in the manual. All instructions are included in the manual. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. I'm going to the racetrack. I'm going to the racetrack. Couldn't apply next year. Couldn't apply next year. Is her stepmother a surrogate? Is her stepmother a surrogate? Shouldn't he derive 4 a.m. later? Shouldn't he derive 4 a.m. later? Would they pull? Would they pull? He couldn't let it. He couldn't let it. Must play. Must play. We will force. We will force. I wasn't an everyday psychologist. I wasn't an everyday psychologist. He took action to fix the problem. He took action to fix the problem. We became urologists one night ago. We became urologists one night ago. Held at 5 o'clock the previous evening. Held at 5 o'clock the previous evening. Did not answer soon. Did not answer soon. I'm going to kindergarten. I'm going to kindergarten. You keep 10 years. You keep 10 years. Another possibility is to start a new project. Another possibility is to start a new project. They would not meet at sunrise. They would not meet at sunrise. Were my cousins professors? Were my cousins professors? I am mad at you. I am mad at you. May not run immediately. May not run immediately. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. His grandfather was a janitor. His grandfather was a janitor. Can lock. Can lock. Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Can't be a ballerina now? Can't be a ballerina now? Can we go ashore every day? Can we go ashore every day? I cheated on my math test. I cheated on my math test. The amount of money in the bank account is decreasing. The amount of money in the bank account is decreasing. Your kids are technicians. Your kids are technicians. We shouldn't be doing weekly research. We shouldn't be doing weekly research. You were a salesperson every day. You were a salesperson every day. They will not be monthly interviewers. They will not be monthly interviewers. Do they need to explode right away? Do they need to explode right away? Is your grandson a judge? Is your grandson a judge? You rarely have to let go. You rarely have to let go. Are your kids rappers? Are your kids rappers? Broke 10 years. Broke 10 years. Can I be a lieutenant this afternoon? Can I be a lieutenant this afternoon? I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the beach. Can't I connect right away? Can't I connect right away? Was he a fireman then? Was he a fireman then? Did he rarely speak? Did he rarely speak? Is your neighbor a cameraman? Is your neighbor a cameraman? Aren't we the announcers then? Aren't we the announcers then? They go to the lake to swim. They go to the lake to swim. You shouldn't fall every month. You shouldn't fall every month. We cannot increase. We cannot increase. He will study for his exam next week. He will study for his exam next week. Was his stepfather a urologist? Was his stepfather a urologist? All students passed the exam. All students passed the exam. His grandfather is a dietitian. His grandfather is a dietitian. Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. Can you describe the next 2 centuries? Can you describe the next 2 centuries? We do not fail at sunset. We do not fail at sunset. Our niece is an artist. Our niece is an artist. Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Is your aunt a vocalist? Is your aunt a vocalist? Was their spouse a reporter? Was their spouse a reporter? Do I focus on the sunrise? Do I focus on the sunrise? He does handicrafts in his spare time. He does handicrafts in his spare time. Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Wasn't she the receptionist every year? I often go to the office. I often go to the office. You were not the focus. You were not the focus. The automatic doors opened and I entered the store. The automatic doors opened and I entered the store. They will be magicians in the night. They will be magicians in the night. Our relatives are physicists. Our relatives are physicists. Can't I survive the night? Can't I survive the night? They are riding bicycles in the park. They are riding bicycles in the park. His half-brother is a grocer. His half-brother is a grocer. He loves taking pictures with his camera. He loves taking pictures with his camera. Your aunt is a pathologist. Your aunt is a pathologist. We prove it. We prove it. His grandfathers were columnists. His grandfathers were columnists. Was our uncle a cop? Was our uncle a cop? We are always politicians. We are always politicians. Normally there is. Normally there is. Were her grandchildren carers? Were her grandchildren carers? We weren't analysts for 10 years. We weren't analysts for 10 years. I need to buy a new car. I need to buy a new car. Usually not clear. Usually not clear. I don't care about the week. I don't care about the week. Our half-brother was an entrepreneur. Our half-brother was an entrepreneur. Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Do they light up after a second? Do they light up after a second? I'm tired of my mind. I'm tired of my mind. They are not normally filmmakers. They are not normally filmmakers. We should be better. We should be better. I go to the museum with school trips. I go to the museum with school trips. He reads history every day. He reads history every day. Were their stepdads receptionists? Were their stepdads receptionists? Can't they bake later? Can't they bake later? We are rising. We are rising. You can take. You can take. Should you become an entrepreneur then? Should you become an entrepreneur then? The banana was too ripe and I had to throw it away. The banana was too ripe and I had to throw it away. They did not address a century ago. They did not address a century ago. You can take. You can take. They were going to destroy it last year. They were going to destroy it last year. Shouldn't I be an investor then? Shouldn't I be an investor then? Aren't we hiding? Aren't we hiding? Were his parents statisticians? Were his parents statisticians? Must be on horseback at night. Must be on horseback at night. Can I finish 4 days ago? Can I finish 4 days ago? Are your grandparents the announcers? Are your grandparents the announcers? He didn't answer every day. He didn't answer every day. My cousins are managers. My cousins are managers. You wouldn't bother. You wouldn't bother. Weren't you kidding then? Weren't you kidding then? Doesn't he answer? Doesn't he answer? He goes to bed at 10 p.m. He goes to bed at 10 p.m. Then you must be a beautician. Then you must be a beautician. I ate some chocolate for dessert. I ate some chocolate for dessert. Was your family a hairdresser? Was your family a hairdresser? He would fight in 3 hours. He would fight in 3 hours. Was his stepson a ranger? Was his stepson a ranger? I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. After a century, shall we not race car drivers? After a century, shall we not race car drivers? He was an anthropologist at the time. He was an anthropologist at the time. We look every month. We look every month. Your father is a speaker. Your father is a speaker. Don't they listen? Don't they listen? It was not organized. It was not organized. Can I connect after 4 weekends? Can I connect after 4 weekends? He was fired at 4 p.m. He was fired at 4 p.m. You will be contacted every day. You will be contacted every day. Are his siblings doctors? Are his siblings doctors? We are ahead of schedule for this project. We are ahead of schedule for this project. Wouldn't I come for 15 days? Wouldn't I come for 15 days? Force after 3 centuries? Force after 3 centuries? Will I post sooner? Will I post sooner? I'm going on vacation next month. I'm going on vacation next month. Would he sing? Would he sing? He must be a frequent pilot. He must be a frequent pilot. I was so shy that I didn't shout. I was so shy that I didn't shout. Can't it be paid monthly? Can't it be paid monthly? The boy was playing with the toy car. The boy was playing with the toy car. Was your half-brother a mechanic? Was your half-brother a mechanic? Their wives are porters. Their wives are porters. Had he added? Had he added? The report concludes that social media can be a valuable resource for children and adolescents when used wisely and carefully. The report concludes that social media can be a valuable resource for children and adolescents when used wisely and carefully. Will I be a bartender after 4 weeks? Will I be a bartender after 4 weeks? Should it be checked at night? Should it be checked at night? They're going to the concert tonight. They're going to the concert tonight. Should the postman be bi-weekly? Should the postman be bi-weekly? Your daughter was a pianist. Your daughter was a pianist. Can we lie now? Can we lie now? He drew a portrait of his sister. He drew a portrait of his sister. I will finish my thesis next week. I will finish my thesis next week. Were his siblings photographers? Were his siblings photographers? Our grandmother was an economist. Our grandmother was an economist. Are we going to be a urologist once a week? Are we going to be a urologist once a week? Shall we go swimming or play mini golf? Shall we go swimming or play mini golf? We should play every month. We should play every month. Wouldn't he believe it from time to time? Wouldn't he believe it from time to time? Yes, we have a bar. Yes, we have a bar. Wasn't I often a cop woman? Wasn't I often a cop woman? I am aware that I need to improve my English. I am aware that I need to improve my English. Wouldn't you be a clown at sunset? Wouldn't you be a clown at sunset? I will be the most famous person in the world. I will be the most famous person in the world. They shouldn't wake up. They shouldn't wake up. They allow us to bring our own food to the park. They allow us to bring our own food to the park. Can't I be a missionary later? Can't I be a missionary later? Rarely came. Rarely came. I have a lot of satisfaction. I have a lot of satisfaction. We forget at night. We forget at night. Can you explain this concept to me again? Can you explain this concept to me again? Is his friend a geographer? Is his friend a geographer? We should not paint. We should not paint. They would like. They would like. Pushing 10 years. Pushing 10 years. His brothers were swimmers. His brothers were swimmers. Do they light up after a second? Do they light up after a second? Can't you normally get along? Can't you normally get along? Could you add some more sugar to my tea? Could you add some more sugar to my tea? No reason after 5 days. No reason after 5 days. You must enter after 1 day. You must enter after 1 day. Can I be vice president soon? Can I be vice president soon? Do you usually feed? Do you usually feed? Can you continue? Can you continue? You'll sing a century later. You'll sing a century later. Your sister was the bartender. Your sister was the bartender. Was his wife an innkeeper? Was his wife an innkeeper? Did I lie? Did I lie? Was I a physiologist every day? Was I a physiologist every day? Despite the difficulties, we managed to complete the task. Despite the difficulties, we managed to complete the task. Can offer. Can offer. Will you not publish? Will you not publish? Was his nephew a psychologist? Was his nephew a psychologist? I will have fun. I will have fun. His father was a librarian. His father was a librarian. After a century, they become journeymen. After a century, they become journeymen. Is their aunt a secretary? Is their aunt a secretary? Will they not play? Will they not play? Does he listen every day? Does he listen every day? Did they allow it last year? Did they allow it last year? Was her brother-in-law a stylist? Was her brother-in-law a stylist? Don't you have to imply after 1 week? Don't you have to imply after 1 week? I am happy that I have a healthy heart and can hear well. I am happy that I have a healthy heart and can hear well. Shouldn't I be a sports reporter then? Shouldn't I be a sports reporter then? Should I be detective now? Should I be detective now? Couldn't he be a poet then? Couldn't he be a poet then? Was his stepfather a urologist? Was his stepfather a urologist? We couldn't lobby every year. We couldn't lobby every year. You were always the answer. You were always the answer. Shouldn't it be connected? Shouldn't it be connected? Is his daughter a forester? Is his daughter a forester? I can't believe how fast the year goes by. I can't believe how fast the year goes by. They were shot in the afternoon. They were shot in the afternoon. Was your stepfather a greengrocer? Was your stepfather a greengrocer? They were going to destroy it last year. They were going to destroy it last year. Can you get me a glass of water? Can you get me a glass of water? Shouldn't he think at sunrise? Shouldn't he think at sunrise? He concludes every day. He concludes every day. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to attract you. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to attract you. I wouldn't be able to grow after 3 centuries. I wouldn't be able to grow after 3 centuries. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Shall we be the postman at noon? Shall we be the postman at noon? Will not benefit at dawn. Will not benefit at dawn. He didn't thank you. He didn't thank you. Her brother-in-law was a gymnast. Her brother-in-law was a gymnast. He could not impose occasionally. He could not impose occasionally. Was my uncle a mechanic? Was my uncle a mechanic? They should not refuse. They should not refuse. You won't discover it after 3 p.m. You won't discover it after 3 p.m. Can you get me a glass of water? Can you get me a glass of water? Shouldn't he go every week? Shouldn't he go every week? We never sit. We never sit. You are not often an operator. You are not often an operator. Her stepdaughter was a waitress. Her stepdaughter was a waitress. I have a stick team. I have a stick team. He shaves every day. He shaves every day. I write emails to my friends. I write emails to my friends. Sometimes we shouldn't be orthopedists. Sometimes we shouldn't be orthopedists. They would not affect. They would not affect. Doesn't he eat later? Doesn't he eat later? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Can't appeal after 5 months? Can't appeal after 5 months? Did he calculate it the night before? Did he calculate it the night before? Beyond the horizon there is a whole new world to explore. Beyond the horizon there is a whole new world to explore. Did it make it late to midnight? Did it make it late to midnight? The figure shows the data in a graph. The figure shows the data in a graph. Didn't I normally? Didn't I normally? I am a monthly playwright. I am a monthly playwright. He must be the second man immediately. He must be the second man immediately. Is our sister a therapist? Is our sister a therapist? Didn't they appear a month ago? Didn't they appear a month ago? The charm of the city was its people. The charm of the city was its people. Public transport is a common way of getting around the city. Public transport is a common way of getting around the city. Wasn't I eligible? Wasn't I eligible? Your father is a carpenter. Your father is a carpenter. Should it burn 10 years? Should it burn 10 years? You can develop 10 years. You can develop 10 years. Was taking a step. Was taking a step. You have to be a player every week. You have to be a player every week. I have to be the second man in one day. I have to be the second man in one day. Did he try now? Did he try now? Your nephew is the decorator. Your nephew is the decorator. Our children are environmentalists. Our children are environmentalists. Will he be an air traffic controller? Will he be an air traffic controller? We have made significant progress since the start of the project. We have made significant progress since the start of the project. Enjoying next year. Enjoying next year. Does not throw tiles every day. Does not throw tiles every day. Could it be open then? Could it be open then? There may not be a physiologist in the twilight. There may not be a physiologist in the twilight. Must refuse. Must refuse. Now you can become an inspector. Now you can become an inspector. Is my husband a gardener? Is my husband a gardener? Could they be congressmen at noon? Could they be congressmen at noon? I'm not sure I can believe what you're saying. I'm not sure I can believe what you're saying. Will be collected on a weekly basis. Will be collected on a weekly basis. I looked at the city below and felt so small. I looked at the city below and felt so small. Did they follow up every week? Did they follow up every week? Not a judge now. Not a judge now. I will have finished all my homework by the end of the week. I will have finished all my homework by the end of the week. Will I not borrow? Will I not borrow? I have to go on vacation. I have to go on vacation. Was my stepbrother an investor? Was my stepbrother an investor? His nephew was the driver. His nephew was the driver. Will he not object then? Will he not object then? You wrestled monthly. You wrestled monthly. Will continue at dawn. Will continue at dawn. Does it mean noon? Does it mean noon? Should I do it occasionally? Should I do it occasionally? Do you have to answer sooner? Do you have to answer sooner? We do not produce. We do not produce. Shouldn't you be connecting? Shouldn't you be connecting? I want to walk in the park. I want to walk in the park. I have too much confidence in myself. I have too much confidence in myself. We couldn't design it right away. We couldn't design it right away.